Thoughts of a public school teacher. To give background, I have been teaching for 9 years. I've taught across 2 state lines, Alabama and Georgia. I've taught in 3 different counties. I spent 1 year teaching 3rd grade, 1 year teaching 1st grade, 1 year teaching title where I serve grade levels 1st through 4th grade, and the rest of my time has been in kindergarten. Teachers are quitting all over America. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but they are quitting all over America. And we all know that the biggest reason is behavior. I'm not going to touch on that in this video yet, but we'll come back to that at another time. Let's talk about the amount of work that we have to do as teachers. I think that when it comes to the amount of work that we have to do, it helps when you have a supportive administration that understands that you have a lot to do. It does not help when you have an administration that decides that they're going to pretty much follow every single last rule down to the nose. In my 9 years of teaching, I've had admins that make sure you follow the curriculum to the letter of the law. And I've had admins that say, utilize the curriculum, but move students. That is the goal, is to move students. There's a difference between that kind of sort of thing, because when you have that support to move students how you need to, while still using the curriculum that is provided, I think it helps alleviate some of the pressures and some of the stress. Teachers generally get into teaching because they like teaching students and they enjoy kids and all the fun things that come with school. I mean, there are some teachers, and I have heard it firsthand from teachers that I had growing up, some teachers do just get into the job because of June and July. I think the hard thing that comes into teaching is that as each year goes on, you would think that it would get easier and easier, especially if you stay in the same grade level. But it seems that each year as you keep teaching, it gets harder and harder. You become put in these cycles where curriculums have to be moved and shifted every 3 to 5 years. You can't get rid of old things that you no longer use because of whatever reasons. And basically, a lot of that, I think we have to understand and know that a lot of that stuff comes from state level. And as much as we get frustrated about how things are, even down to behavior, it's a state level decision. So sometimes we're putting our anger and our upset into the wrong people. Prime example, I look at, in Georgia, we have something here called milestones testing. I always wonder, who are the people that come up with the questions, and who are the people who come up with, that determine what qualifies everything as like a certain level. If I'm being straight up and down honest, now I've not looked at a milestone questions in a few years, but I know when I did look at them, the questioning was always thrown for a loop for me. I struggled with the questioning because while the questions could have been more simplified, they are completely complexified. Sometimes I feel like the questioning is not at an age appropriate level, and I know I'm not the only person that feels this way. I look at this way because when I look at all the systems that are put in place, we took my son, he's speech delayed, and we got him tested through the school system. I know that the assessment that he was given when he was 2 years old asked questions of him that he was not able to understand or comprehend as a 2-year-old. Because some of the questions that he was asked are questions that I asked my kindergartners. So then when they came back and they said that he had a cognitive delay along with a communication delay, which we knew the communication delay was happening, but we had to get the cognitive delay as well. And when I questioned, how is it that, I don't see that he has a cognitive issue. Keep in mind, my son at this age knew all his letters, all his sounds, and was sorting all of his letters in alphabetical order on the fridge, A to M on the top row, N to Z on the bottom row. He had not turned 3 yet, but there were a lot of other things that my son could do that matched what a beginning kindergartner could do. And again, mind you, he was only 2 years old. So then when I asked, what kind of questions were asked or how were the questions asked, basically what it came down to is he had a cognitive delay because of the way the questions were asked. One example of the question that I actually asked kindergartners coming into kindergarten is, can you sort these blocks by color? Or and he didn't understand what that meant, because when we're at home, I work with him on sorting things, and I say, let's put all the reds together. Can we get all the red letters? Can we get all the green letters? I don't ever say to at that time, I didn't say to my 2-year-old, can we sort these letters by color? So I look at those things and I'm like, when you look at all these different systems and the questioning and all of the testing things that we have to go through, how do we know, like, who's coming up with this stuff to decide, oh, we're going to ask these kind of questions? Because sometimes the questioning is not even age appropriate. Therefore, kids cannot answer the questions. Therefore, scores go down because they don't understand what they're being asked. So then here as teachers, you're not just trying to teach your children, your students, content, but you're also trying to like teach them how to beat the test. You're having to teach them how to break down a question to figure out what the question is asking in order to answer the question while the test is also being timed. So as teachers are quitting because of all of the things that are put in line, I think one of the biggest questions that we have to ask is, who determines these guidelines? I mean, a lot of the times it is coming from state level, as typically we get upset with our administrators and our board members, which I know that every level has a hand, but if we're going to be truthfully honest, it starts at the top and works its way down. As much as we try to work from the bottom up and out, sometimes the issues are coming from the top, and you have to figure out where is the root of this stuff coming from and how can we change it? How can we fix it? I know for a person like me, I absolutely love my job. I love teaching children. I don't like all the red tape. I don't like all of the extra things that we're mandated to do. I don't like that you get used to a certain curriculum and then you have to, after so many years, scrap it, start over, do something new. It's really exhausting for teachers. But when you hear teachers talking about why they quit, like, don't just think that they're complaining, but at the same time, us teachers, as we are considering that decision of like, should I just leave? Should I quit? We also have to look at the systems. And I think my biggest thing that kind of holds me true is to find a school that has an admin that you can rock with, that is for you. If you don't mesh with your admin and your admin doesn't suit like your personality, then you probably should look for another place. I've been fortunate that every school that I've moved to, due just to different life circumstances, I've been fortunate to have good administrators that supported me in how I am. I'm a very out-of-the-box person. I'm a very out-of-the-box teacher. I'm not one that is a script reader. I struggle with that, because especially if I feel like it's something that's not good for the students that are sitting in front of me, I cannot in good conscience follow it.